meet my bride. Let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Just where we will go, nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the speed meter steel, it's my newfangled automobile.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill. When you buy a car in the United States, lots of laws are involved. The Department of Transportation imposes certain safety and emission standards, and various states often add more requirements in such regards. Plus, you must register the car. Many states require safety inspections of the vehicle, and of course, you must possess a valid driver's license and car insurance before you can actually drive it legally. But what was the process like 111 years ago? We'll be looking at the laws of the USA as by 1914, the laws concerning motor vehicles were similar on both sides of the pond. Additionally, we'll use Ohio for our example, since it was, along with Michigan and Indiana, a hub of automotive activity, and also the laws across the various states were similar. The federal government didn't get very involved in the automotive industry beyond having tariffs on cars imported from Europe and left the management of cars to the individual states. Ohio first attempted to initiate law regarding registration of cars in 1906. This law required owners to pay fees, pay to manufacture their own license plates to state specifications, and charge for the privilege of doing so based on the horsepower of the engine. However, this law was challenged and was declared unconstitutional by the state Supreme Court. 1908 saw the first registration law pass legal muster, and it was simple. Senate Bill 425 declared that all cars must be registered annually, and that 2 license plates will be provided by the state, and such plates will be white numbers on a blue background. $5 was the fee to register your gas or steam-powered car, $3 for an electric. Motorcycles were exempt from registration. In 1913, Ohio sought to include motorcycles in the registration process and tried to get a law passed to that regard, but it, like the 1906 car registration efforts, was shot down in the courts. However, in early 1914, House Bill number 55 passed, and for the first time, bikers had to register their bikes as well as car drivers. Essentially, in Ohio, if a motor vehicle of any kind was designed to operate on a road, it had to be registered. So Charles H. Graves, the Ohio Secretary of State at the time, issued a pamphlet explaining the entirety of Ohio civil law regarding motor vehicles. Let's take a look. Automobile Law of Ohio, which was published in early 1914 as a result of Bill number 55, and this contains all 49 of the statutes regarding motor vehicles. So we're not going to look at all of them, but let's take a look at some of them. First of all, a definition of a motor vehicle, which is section 6290 of this general code. The term motor vehicle, as used in this chapter and in the penal laws, except where otherwise provided, includes all vehicles propelled by power other than muscular power, except road rollers, traction engines, fire trucks, police patrol wagons, public ambulances, and vehicles run upon rails or trucks. Basically, if it's a motor vehicle, it's designed to work on roads or designed to build roads, as you know the rollers indicate, and it's exempting obviously those used in public works. Now, another definition here is a definition of a chauffeur. The term chauffeur, as used in this chapter and in the penal laws, includes every person operating a motor vehicle for hire or as an employee of the owner thereof. Now, this is important because in 1914 in Ohio, there was no requirement to have a driver's license. There was no Bureau of Motor Vehicles or Department of Motor Vehicles or anything of motor vehicles. There was not even a department, of transportation. Again, the federal government really didn't step into the automotive industry until 1916 with the Road Act, and that was on a federal level, just to get roads out there. But managing the roads themselves and the cars on the roads was left to each individual state. And at this time, the idea of a driver's license was not universally adopted. So, yes, if you owned a car in Ohio in 1914, you did not have need a driver's license to drive it. But if you were doing it professionally, either being hired by someone to drive it, or if you were using it to transport passengers or cargo for money, that made you a chauffeur. The car itself, of course, needs registration. Here's where Section 6294 comes into play. Every owner of a motor vehicle which shall be operated or driven upon the public roads or highways of this state shall, before the first day of March, 1914, and therefore annually, before the first day of January of each year, except as herein otherwise expressly provided, cause to be filed by mail or otherwise in the office of the Secretary of State a written application for registration for the following year, beginning the first day of January of such year, on a blank to be furnished by the Secretary of State for that purpose, containing a brief description of the motor vehicle to be registered, including the name of the manufacturer, the factory number of such vehicle, if it has such number, the amount of motive power in figures of horsepower, and the name, residence, and address of the owner of such motor vehicle. Upon the filing of such application, each such owner shall pay, or cause to be paid, to the Secretary of State a registration fee of $2 for each motor bicycle, motorcycle, or motor tricycle, $3 for each electric motor vehicle, and $5 for each gasoline or steam motor vehicle. So, therefore, if you buy a car, you're going to have to pay $3 if it's electric, $5 if it's gas or steam, and a motorcycle or motor trike, $2. You don't need a driver's license to operate any of them. You just need to have paid those fees, and you'll get the plates from the state, blue, white letters on blue, and you affix them to them. Now, there are some other laws here because this booklet is all of the laws. And so there are laws regarding the safety of the vehicles. Okay, here are the requirements to make sure that this motor vehicle is safe. Section 12,614, failure to provide brakes, lights, and etc. Whoever operates or drives a motor vehicle upon the public roads and highways without providing it with sufficient brakes to control it at all times, and at a suitable and adequate bell or other device for signaling, or fails during the period from 30 minutes after sunset to 30 minutes before sunrise to display a red light on the rear thereof and 3 white lights, 2 on the front and 1 on the rear thereof, the rays which the rear white light shall shine upon and illuminate each and every part of the distinctive number borne upon such motor vehicle, the light of which the front lamps be visible to at least 200 feet in the direction in which such motor vehicle is proceeding, shall be fined not more than $25, provided that motor vehicles of the type commonly called motorcycles shall display 1 white light in front to be visible at least 200 feet in the direction in which such motor vehicle is proceeding, and 1 rear combination red and white light showing red in the direction from which such motor vehicle is proceeding, and such rear light to be so placed that it will reflect its white light upon and fully clearly illuminate the distinctive license identification mark of such motor vehicle. Who would have thought that the license plate light went back that far? But it actually did. This was part of safety, Well, that was part of it, but also to, if a situation happened and you needed to see what vehicle was involved, you could see the registration mark. It was uh, just how they did things back then. It was crazy that's all the safety requirements you needed. It had to have headlights, a license light, and one red tail light. That's it. And brakes. Okay, that's the safety requirements. Okay, as long as it met that, you could drive it. But what if you did things wrong? There were penalties because if you didn't follow this, you saw a $25 fine. Well, what about some of the other fines? Well, here were the rules of the road in 1914. Section 6310 pretty much tells you how to operate a car on a road. Meeting vehicles on highway. A person driving a carriage or vehicle on a public turnpike, road, or highway, on meeting a carriage or vehicle, shall keep to the right, so as to leave half of the road free for the coming vehicle. A person riding on horseback, or on a bicycle, tricycle, or tandem bicycle, or driving a locomobile, automobile, or any other motor vehicle, or any vehicle operated by its own power, on meeting a carriage or a vehicle drawn by horses or oxen, shall keep to the right, so as to leave one half of the road free for the use of the vehicle drawn by horses, mules, or oxen. A person driving a carriage, vehicle, automobile, or any kind of vehicle who desires to pass a vehicle going in the same direction on any public road or highway shall give an alarm or demand to the person or persons driving the vehicle in front and going in the same direction of such desire, and the person so driving the front vehicle shall immediately give the half of the road to the rear vehicle by turning to the right, so that the rear vehicle can pass to the left of the front vehicle. The term vehicle herein shall apply to any vehicle propelled by its own power or drawn by horses or oxen. Any person or persons driven by any vehicle, horse-drawn or otherwise, on any public road, who shall fail in meeting or passing to give the required road as herein stated, shall be subject to a fine in court having jurisdiction thereof, in a sum of not less than $1, nor more than $10 as costs of prosecution. So there you have the main statute. Keep to the right and pass around the right. Okay, but what about things like drunk driving, rage driving? Oh, yeah, and all those sort of things. Yeah, that's addressed. This is section 12603. Operating motor vehicles unreasonably or improperly. Whoever operates a motor vehicle on the public roads or highways at a speed greater than its reasonable or proper, having regard for width, traffic use, and the general and usual rules of such road or highway, or as to do danger the property, life, or limb of any person, shall be fined not more than $25, and for a second offense shall be fined not less than $25, no more than $50. So that covers everything that doesn't have to do with, passing on the right and staying on the right. Okay, but what about speeding? Section 12604 handles speeding. Whoever operates a motorcycle or motor vehicle at a greater speed than 8 miles an hour in the business and closely built up portions of a municipality, or more than 15 miles an hour in other portions thereof, or more than 20 miles an hour outside of a municipality, shall be fined not more than $25, and for a second offense shall be fined not less than $25, no more than $50. Okay, so we used to have that clear. But there is a section in this that addresses car racing. Let's take a look at that. In section 6307, the limitation on local authorities, Local authorities shall not regulate the speed of motor vehicles by ordinance, by law, or resolution, but for a given time, there may be set aside a specific public highway for speed tests or races. The term local authorities, as used herein, means all officers, boards, and committees of counties, cities, villages, or townships. Now, there are, as I said, 49 ordinances in here, and I only went through some of them. The remaining ordinances are mostly talking about fines regarding repeat offenses, and specifically what chauffeurs have to pay, and also they have additional regulations on them. But nonetheless, that's it. That was all you needed to do to drive a car legally in the state of Ohio in 1914. And the book does also speak of reciprocity between other states, because most of the states at that time were similar. So if you were from New York and driving through Ohio, your New York license was going to be held valid, as well as its registration. And this is still true today. And today's legislation, from your state and federal governments on cars would take a book way bigger than something like this. Oh, for the days when life was this simple, when you just used common sense to legislate. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History, and we'll see you next week. Peace.